What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Hey, we got to talk about something that's a little bit more uncomfortable. And I know that it's a lot of people that really don't understand and they don't get it. And they may even reject this advice. But I seen a video and I did a reaction to it yesterday of a woman that was basically saying that it was difficult for her to figure out why her husband chose, or her ex-husband, I'm assuming, chose his family over her. Let me say that again. I did a review video on this channel, dropped it yesterday, of a woman that basically said that she can't understand why her husband chose his family over her. Now, I want y'all to really understand this and hear me clearly. It's a difference between being married and being successfully married. A lot of people are married on paper. They get involved with the person that they're not supposed to be with based off of things that do not sustain a relationship. And I want y'all to be successfully married if that's the path that you choose to take. And I also need y'all to understand that it's a difference between being in a relationship and being in a marriage, okay? When you're in a relationship, you still single until you're married as far as I'm concerned, because you don't get the paperwork. You should not have children out of marriage. And ultimately, if you really want to go back into it, the person that you have sex with is usually your wife. And so people don't understand that a lot of times you're always going to be tied to the person that you have sex with through the children that you have. Now, obviously, a lot of people don't have children, but it's much easier to reconcile with a person that you were in a relationship with, or if you were married to them and you didn't have children, versus a person that you have children with, right? So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend for guys to talk to people that are single mothers. And it's not just because the person is bad or anything like that, because I don't think that every single mother is bad. Absolutely not. I don't think that every single father is bad. No, absolutely not. But what I do believe is that it's difficult for you to raise somebody else's child, because that child is always going to be tied to the person that they had it with. With that being said, again, going back to this video, I want y'all to understand something. If your family, friends, people on the outside world don't look at your wife as an extension of you and don't respect them as such, then it's not a marriage, it's not a relationship, it's not going to last. If your family, because for whatever reason, people are choosing their homeboys, their homegirls, they're choosing their families, their mothers. I know a lot of guys that I've coached personally that tend to be treated like son husbands, and so they mama's boys and all of this stuff, and it's difficult for guys to figure it out a lot of times because A, they have so many different voices on the internet as well as women, and B, you know, they can't fathom the idea that their homeboy is not going to be their homeboy for life. When you get married, you're supposed to cleave to your spouse. It is scripture. It is biblical. It is the method by which you are going to be successfully married. If anybody, not even the children, comes before your spouse, then you are doing it wrong. Again, another reason why it's very difficult for people to get married, or for a guy to then go into a household and marry a single mother, because inherently, by default, she's always going to place the child above the person that she's marrying, because that's not your kid and that's her kid first. Usually what happens is, if you're doing it the right way and you're doing it in order, which is one of the reasons why the community and this culture is so messed up, is that we put the cart before the horse. We get into relationships, we have sex, we move into it with each other. Y'all have children. Ultimately, if you have another child, you may get the marriage. You may just become a forever fiance. But usually what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to get married and then have children. And what happens is you chose her before y'all had kids, which then makes her the priority. And whatever happens, it's the same thing with her, vice versa, is that she chose you. And what happens is whatever happens between y'all ultimately affect the children. And the children don't have any say-so in what happens in your life. But when you do it out of order and you have children out of wedlock, or then you then break up your household and all of this other type of stuff, what happens is you have to prioritize your child before that person, you don't even bring that person around your child until you can vet them effectively. And then ultimately, the person that you had children with still got to play a huge role in that child's life. So it's very difficult for people to be able to reconcile with the idea that you have to place your spouse above your child, because then you would be placing this stranger essentially to your child above them, and it wouldn't make sense, right? And so you got to do things in order, and then that's how you then get successfully married. But going back to the subject at hand, if they don't look at your spouse as an extension of you, then they're disrespecting you. And any kingship, right? In any palace, in any household, because you are the king of your household, right? Your spouse, your royal court, they're an extension of you. And so if somebody commits treason against them, or if somebody disrespects them, it's essentially disrespecting the king itself. And the first person, the highest ranking person within your court is your spouse. So I don't understand how y'all believe that anybody could say anything to your spouse before you. How decisions are made like you still a child with other people outside of your household, right? And if we have a problem, if me and my spouse would have a problem, then that stays within those four walls. But when we leave that household, we are a unit. We are unified, and we make decisions accordingly. So when I then look in the comments and I see all of these guys, and of course you can say, well, it's another side to the story, we didn't hear his side. It really doesn't matter. The foundation of what I'm saying, it still rings true. And the story that the woman told, or her situationship, is just a jump off point to have a much deeper, broader conversation, is that you cleave to your spouse, right? Y'all figure it out between y'all, not amongst the children, not in front of the children. You don't argue in front of the children. You don't go back and forth in front of the children. By the time that y'all leave, and it take a little bit, it may take a couple years for y'all to start to figure this out, because you're going to have a stormy and a norming phase. By the time you get into 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, y'all should have this solidified. And the fact that y'all are having children and y'all deciding that y'all want to, you know what I'm saying, be in these relationships, but then at the same time, nobody respects your spouse. Can't nobody say nothing to my chick except for me. And if you got something to say, then you're going to have to go through me in order to get to her. And if anybody says anything around her about me, either she leaving the room, or she going to have to help people to understand that, hey, who are you talking? What? And the only thing that she should be saying about you to other people are glowing things and things that she loves about you. But if she throwing y'all business out there, if you throwing y'all business out there, then that's female characteristics, and you're going to have to reconcile that. You're going to have to fix that. You're going to have to get that in order, and you cannot let people or choose anybody, mother, father, family, all of that stuff. They come second to the person that you get married with. That is the person that you're creating a legacy with. That is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. That is the person that's going to make the decisions on whether or not to pull the plug. And hopefully y'all got a good relationship, and making your decisions and all of this other type of stuff on your behalf if anything was to ever happen to you. And y'all are sleeping with the enemy, and so you can't figure out that this person deserves, or this person is supposed to be in this space, because you never been in a healthy relationship and you never understood what it took in order to be married in the first place. And a lot of y'all need premarital counseling. A lot of y'all need community to help vet. A lot of y'all need some real OGs or some people to help you to understand how to move differently. And y'all taking a lot of advice from people that ain't never did it successfully. I'm telling you, bro, it's a way for you to be able to move in a relationship that allows for you to maintain your sanity, maintain your masculinity, while at the same time respect for the person that you're in a relationship with. I have not been successfully married for almost 21 years for no reason. I understand how the game worked. I lived it in real life. Right? No misses, no children out of wedlock, no divorces, no none of that stuff. But hear what I'm saying and hear me clearly. Your chick, your wife, is supposed to be an extension of you, and treason against her is treason against you. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.